There are two voices inside us. One is loud. One is quiet. One wants to be right. One wants to do what's right. One is ego. One is understanding. Ego says, I know everything. Ego stands tall and says, I already know. I don't need help. But understanding sits down and says, I still have so much to learn. Ego hates questions. Understanding loves them, because questions open doors. Ego closes them. Ego wants to win. Ego wants to win every fight. Even when it's not worth it, it screams, I must be better than them. But understanding whispers, I just want to be better than I was yesterday. Ego turns life into a battle. Understanding turns it into a lesson. Ego blames. Ego points fingers. It's their fault, not mine. But understanding holds a mirror. What can I do better next time? Ego runs from mistakes. Understanding learns from them. That's how we grow. That's how we change. Ego fears failure. Ego says, if I fail, I'm nothing. But understanding says, if I fail, I'm learning. Ego fears being wrong. Understanding is brave enough to say, I don't know yet. That one word, yet, it changes everything. Ego needs praise. Ego begs for attention. It wants to be seen. It wants to be clapped for. But understanding is okay being silent. It doesn't need to be seen. It just wants to be. Ego breaks. Understanding builds. Ego breaks trust. Ego breaks peace. Ego breaks friendships. Because ego only thinks about me. But understanding builds trust. It brings peace. It saves friendships. Because understanding thinks about we. What do you choose? Ego is a mask. It hides pain. It hides fear. It hides truth. Understanding is light. It shows your wounds, but also your strength. So ask yourself, do I want to look strong? Or do I want to be strong? Do I want to win arguments? Or do I want to win peace? Ego compares. Understanding accepts. Ego always compares. Look at them. They're richer, smarter, better. Ego says, I must be more than them. But understanding says, I am not them. I am me. It doesn't chase others. It walks its own path. Ego lives in jealousy. Understanding lives in peace. You don't have to be better than others. You only have to be better than you were yesterday. Ego rushes. Understanding waits. Ego is in a hurry. I need it now. I must get there fast. It rushes without thinking. It wants the prize, not the process. But understanding is patient. It takes slow steps. It knows real growth takes time. Like a tree, it grows slowly but strong. Ego says, if it's not fast, it's not worth it. Understanding says, if it's true, it's worth waiting for. Ego wants easy. Understanding chooses meaning. Ego protects pride. Understanding protects truth. Ego hates saying, I was wrong. It feels weak. But understanding says, I made a mistake, and that's okay. It feels strong. Ego hides behind pride. Understanding stands in truth. Truth may hurt, but it heals. Pride may feel good, but it blinds. Real power is not in being perfect. Real power is in being honest. Understanding doesn't need to lie to look strong. It shines because it's real. Ego hates change. Understanding grows with it. Ego says, I want things to stay the same. It fears the unknown. It fears discomfort. But understanding knows. Change is how we grow. Even pain helps us learn. Even failure makes us stronger. Ego holds on. Understanding lets go and becomes more. Ego speaks. Understanding listens. Ego talks first. Loud. Fast. It wants to be heard. It wants attention. Understanding waits. It listens fully. It listens to learn, not just to reply. Ego says, listen to me. Understanding says, help me understand you. Ego defends. Understanding reflects. Ego says, don't question me. It gets angry when corrected. It attacks when afraid. Understanding says, maybe I was wrong. Let me think. It doesn't fight truth. It welcomes it. Ego builds a wall. Understanding builds a bridge. Ego needs control. Understanding lets go. Ego tries to control everything. People, plans, outcomes. It says, I must make it happen my way. But understanding knows. Some things are not up to us. Only our choices are. Ego fights life. Understanding flows with it. Ego reacts. Understanding responds. Ego hears a word and explodes. It shouts, blames, gets mad. It feels like fire. Understanding breathes. It pauses, thinks. It answers with peace, not heat. Ego is quick to anger. Understanding is slow to burn. Ego avoids pain. Understanding accepts it. Ego runs away from pain. It hides in noise and lies and blame. But understanding faces it. It says, yes, this hurts, but I can sit with it. And slowly it heals. Ego numbs. Understanding feels. And grows. Ego needs to be seen. Understanding needs to be real. Ego dresses big. Talks big. It wants the world to clap. Understanding doesn't care who watches. It just wants to be true. Ego is a mask. Understanding is a mirror. The mask may win the crowd, but the mirror wins the soul. Ego fears being small. Understanding is okay with small steps. Ego says, if I'm not big, I'm nothing. Understanding says, every giant started small. It trusts slow steps. It trusts the journey. Ego wants to leap. Understanding learns to walk. Ego divides. Understanding unites. Ego says, you versus me. It draws lines. It creates enemies. But understanding says, we are both human. It sees pain in others. It sees love, not just ego. Ego separates. Understanding connects. Ego ends with regret. Understanding ends with peace. Ego lives for pride, for now, for noise. But when silence comes, it feels regret. It sees the truth too late. Understanding lives for meaning, for kindness, for truth. And when silence comes, it feels peace. Ego is loud today, but empty tomorrow. Understanding is quiet today, but full forever. Ego wants to prove. Understanding wants to improve. Ego says, I must prove I'm the best. It wants to show off, to win every time. But understanding says, I don't need to prove. I just need to improve. It focuses on progress, not praise. Ego shouts, look at me. Understanding whispers, I'm working on me. Ego is loud in success. Understanding is quiet in greatness. Ego wins and makes noise. It says, look what I did. It wants the spotlight. Understanding wins and stays quiet. It says, this is not just me. Many helped. It shares the light. Ego wants a stage. Understanding wants meaning. Ego takes credit. Understanding shares it. Ego says, I did it all, even when others helped. Understanding says, we did it together. It remembers the team, the support, the journey. Ego forgets others. Understanding honors them. Ego is defensive. Understanding is open. Ego gets hurt by truth. It fights back. It builds walls. Understanding says, tell me more. I want to see. It listens, even when it's hard. Ego fears feedback. Understanding uses it to grow.